guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and recently Craig of the Creek got its own movie. And if you haven't heard about that, I don't blame you because of how awful the promotion has been for it. Now, back in the old world,
and that means before the time skip,
Cartoon Network had plenty of iconic shows that were basically legends in the animation community. Whether they were story-driven, episodic, or a mixture of both, these cartoons gave the network a library that basically put them at the top, far ahead of the other networks at the time. And 4 years later, yeah, Cartoon Network in the present day has kinda gone down the drain. With their studio shut down and merged with Warner Animation, Adult Swim starting at 5 p.m. nowadays, and almost every new project from them being either cancelled, written off for tax purposes, or dropped with no fanfare, things are just not looking good for the former king of television animation. Aside from Teen Titans Go airing strong 10 years later, and an upcoming Gumball movie and season that seems to be in jeopardy as well, Craig of the Creek is really the only show they have left, and would you look at that? The show is ending, and the heads at Warner Bros. Discovery cut the episode count of the final season that was already written. What are the odds? Anyways, Craig has joined Steven Universe, We Bare Bears, and Teen Titans Go in the Has a Movie Club. And, much like the show itself, it's pretty good. Amazing, even. The character designs are amazing like always, the score is great, and the story, while not as grand as some of the stories the show pulled off in my opinion, still has a grand enough scope to be the plot of a movie. I won't go too big on story spoilers, as I want as many people to check this out as possible, but as a feature adaptation of this show, it is really good. If you're a fan of the series who's caught up, a fan who hasn't seen every episode, or even someone who is new to the show and wants to check it out, this movie is for you. In fact, this movie could even be a great start point, especially as a prequel to the series, though I still recommend watching this in the middle of season 5. I loved Craig Before the Creek, and there are so many good things I want to say about it. That being said, I think it would be easier to go over the few negatives this movie has in my eye. For one, the prequel angle. I think it's really cool that this movie is a prequel. We get to see Craig when he's new in town and fresh to the creek, and we get to see how he, Kelsey, and JP met. And I went, they're so little, more times than I can count. However, a problem that a majority of movies based on animated properties has, whether it's cartoons or anime, is that the status quo has to be maintained by the end of the story. And because Craig Before the Creek is a prequel, it has this problem tenfold. We know that the Stump Kids will be friends by the end, and we know that the Pirate Kids will be defeated because they are never brought up in the show proper. So as a fan of the series, a lot of the tension is just gone. And because it's a prequel, every other character besides the Stump Kids have no role to play since Craig doesn't know them yet. A few get cameos, but at the end of the day, the only major players in the movie are the Stump Kids and Serena, the villain. I'm happy with the product we got in the end, but if there was any other way to do it, I would have loved a movie that takes place within the show itself. Maybe after season 2 or 3. That way characters like Omar, Maya, Wildernessa, and others can play a part in the movie as well. Plus, as stated, the story itself isn't even as grand as some of the major plot points in the show, such as the Capture the Flag War, or even the latest arc, Heart of the Forest. As for the visuals, they are great. For about 90% of the movie, it's gorgeous, and is really a step up from the show as a movie should be. However, there are some points, specifically in one sequence, where you can tell that the characters are rigged puppets rather than hand-drawn, and it is very out of place. Let's just say they're animated exactly like that cameo they had in that one Teen Titans Go episode, only it looks even more out of place here. For the rest of the movie though, it's beautiful. Though I wish the characters had movie shading at all times like the Steven Universe movie. And that is my Hot Pocket from my air fryer. I'm gonna let that beep. Okay, because after the first scene, they keep the characters flat for the rest of the movie, but that doesn't automatically mean the movie looks bad. Rather than focusing on shading, the visual budget is in the beautiful detailed backgrounds, the many different color palettes for every scene, and overall just better character animation and compositing. It ain't no Steven Universe movie in terms of visuals, but it is still a few steps above the show, and looks beautiful. Besides, you could tell that Cartoon Network wanted to have that one in theaters, so it's whatever. That brings me to the elephant in the room, actually. The treatment of this movie. This movie was released on digital platforms for purchase on December 11th, and the first teaser for the movie, not even the first trailer, appeared on Twitter less than a month before, on November 17th. They aren't even airing this movie on the network itself until January, and they're airing it in the morning at 10 a.m.? Huh? Not to be a broken record, but comparing this to the Steven Universe movie and how that was treated is just criminal. They got tons of advertising months in advance. Seriously, they played that trailer every chance they would get. It got a huge marathon leading up to it. It aired commercial free multiple times. It's insane comparing that to this, where it was just shadow dropped online for 20 bucks. Times have changed and cable is an obsolete format in the age of streaming. However, something common among studios nowadays that I hate is the fact that they just don't know how to advertise their stuff anymore. They rely on word of mouth and get upset when their projects fail. Oh well, no one watched this show, so I guess no one really cares about it, they say as they told no one about it. It's insane that a show this good, with a movie of this high quality, just flies under the radar with little to no fanfare because of poor advertising. But that's a conversation for another day. Overall, Craig Before the Creek, while it's not perfect in concept, is a wonderful adaptation of the show, and is something that fans and newcomers alike will love. Craig is the last survivor of the era that came before, and when it ends, Cartoon Network won't have much to stand on anymore. It's sad to think about, and they are honestly fumbling the bag with this show and this movie. Since they won't tell you to, I will. Watch this movie. If you have to wait a month to watch it on HBO Max, that's fine, do that. But it's good, and if you've ever been interested in getting into the show, then here is a great starting point. Do not sleep on the creek.
Okay, historically, yes, but maybe we could be different pirates, you know? Fun pirates!